Hello and welcome everyone to another Challenger Misfortune analysis. We are in patch 8.13 and Emdiel decided to take Misfortune to the mid lane this patch because, I don't know, maybe because of the bot lane meta, I'm not quite sure, but he is most interestingly enough playing against a Challenger Heimerdinger one-trick player with a 63% win rate on this very champion, with over 200 games played, and he told me he was quite scared by his opponent's statistics. But we'll see how he does. He started Doran's Blade, and he of course still uses his lethality build, which he always uses. It's full lethality, no boots, and Dark Harvest, Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, Ultimate Hunter with Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. Yes, that's the setup, I guess. And I'm not a mid lane player myself. I am a Misfortune player, but mid lane is not really where I am at home. But I would guess the difference to bot lane is that well, you ideally want to push the lane and then go for a roam, and Misfortune actually could do that quite well because she has so much out of combat movement speed with her W. At the same time, Emdiel is not buying boots, and Misfortune is not the best champion at pushing, at least if you don't max W straight away, and he obviously maxes Q. But as of now, he outpushes Heimerdinger, but Heimerdinger sitting at full mana, he is basically... wow! He is basically allowing Emdiel to push him in, because he's afraid of early ganks. He wants to play it safe early, I would guess, because it's definitely his decision. He could be pushing this like crazy with his abilities, but he decides not to. Maybe he's a little bit afraid of Misfortune's burst damage and wants to stay safe near his tower. Yeah, but that's the general game plan, and Emdiel, okay, eating a lot of damage there because Heimerdinger actually went Electrocute. I'm not a Heimerdinger player, I don't know what you typically take on him, but this guy, this Heimerdinger Challenger player, he takes Electrocute, so if Heimerdinger is somehow your secondary champion, then you might want to have a look at this guy's profile. So you can see his name. It's on the EU NE server, obviously, because this is Emdiel's main account, Challenger Elo. And yeah, the Heimerdinger, maybe he wants to set up ganks for his jungler, I would guess, by staying in this area. Emdiel is basically forced to be in the middle of the lane, and he could be ganked from topside river or botside river, but this ward here actually prevents the enemy... it's a Kayn, yeah. The enemy Kayn from coming through the Raptors camp. Botside river is also warded, so he is quite safe vision-wise. Let's look at farm. 31 to 29, so that's fine too. He needs to be very careful of... well, he needs to be very cautious of Heimerdinger's poke damage, since he does not really have any source of HP regen. And right now, they're at his tower. This is basically just because of how minion waves work and the reinforcement effect. If there is a minion wave on... let's say this minion wave, I'll explain it with this example. The minion wave right here is at in more towards blue team's side, let's put it like this, which means that the minions coming from the blue team's nexus will arrive at the point at which the minions are trading off earlier than the red team's minions, and thus will be attacking earlier and deal more damage that way. So it's basically in every mobile game, because it's just how, well, it's just logic, basically. Your minions attack sooner and therefore start pushing. And this is what happened there, and as a result, the minion wave is now here, and it will soon... okay, Heimerdinger just pushes it under turret and probably looks for a back. And this is exactly what you want to do as a mid laner. You basically force your opponent to... oh, I missed the cannon minion, that sucks. To waste his time farming, you outpush them, and then you can either go for a roam or for a back, get a good back timing off. And I would guess, because Heimerdinger is not the best at roaming, that he just went for a back. How much gold did he have? Okay, he bought a... Yes, he bought a Lost Chapter already, which is basically the F sword equivalent for AD carries, since it's also 1,300 gold. Very important, since the mana regen allows you to do what a mid laner should be doing, which is push roam or push base. And obviously you can trade better as well, since you don't have to watch your mana pool constantly. Okay, so Emdiel went for a back himself, picked up one potion, or did he consume the potion earlier? I don't know actually. Probably not. It's probably the potion he picked up at the start, but he bought a Serrated Dirk plus a longsword, which should allow him to last hit under tower with no problems whatsoever. Yeah. Look at this. Everything's in... oh, this one he missed, but minion aggro. Nothing he could do. Yeah, but now he should be able to farm no matter what Heimerdinger does. And should he get a Q-bounce crit off, Heimerdinger will be in trouble. Alright, red buff is pinged. Maybe... I didn't watch the minimap, to be honest. Maybe they saw somebody invading. But that's not the case. And I... missed mid lane action. Okay, let's rewind this. He roams down because Fiddlesticks pinged. Heimerdinger obviously saw this and now looks to trap him at the corner, which kills him. Oh, but he dies too. Which summoner? Oh, he picked up... Yeah, obviously he does not have heal since he goes to the mid lane. He picked up Ignite, which allowed him to trade 1-for-1 there, but very well played by the Heimerdinger, anticipating Emdiel to return and being ready with an extra turret and a stun, and obviously the turret lasers dealing a lot of damage there. Plus Electrocute. Very high all-in damage. Yeah, but Emdiel luckily reacted in time to trade 1-for-1. It would be pretty much lane over at this point if he just died there. Well, because he loses a lot of farm too. All these minions are stacking up for Heimerdinger, so you can farm them. This is because of the reinforcement effect again. It was on his side of the map, and the minions start stacking up. The enemy minions die to your minions, because you obviously have way more. And by the time you're back, the enemy minions have died and you can no longer farm them. You lose out on XP and on gold. XP being the more important factor here. But since he was able to trade 1-for-1, it's not... It's kind of a... It's still in Heimerdinger's favor, but it's not as bad as it could be. Okay, Nocturne level 6, looking for something. That was shaky at best. Yeah, Emdiel luckily survived there. Nothing really happened except for they almost fed this Heimerdinger double kill. And now... And wow. How did that work? Braum has such a... Well, it's probably because Emdiel got a Taste of Blood trigger there, which allowed him to survive through the Braum's damage, which is not that much. Braum is basically a CC bot and a walking shield, but not really good at dealing damage himself. Alright, Emdiel has now a finished Ghostblade. Usually he builds Duskblade first, so he can stack his eyeball collection a little bit faster. But I guess since he is in mid lane, he values the out of combat movement speed and the Yomu's active a little bit more, so he can go for roams and maybe with the active dodge some of Heimerdinger's skill shots. That's what I would guess. It does make sense, because as a mid laner, as I've said, being able to roam is very important, and since he does not buy boots, Ghostblade is the next best thing, right? Okay, Heimerdinger is very low since he took a Q-bounce there, and he tries to finish him off with ulti, but it was not enough, obviously. But it was a good idea. Had the Heimerdinger reacted a little bit later, this would have definitely worked. It was also a little bit mind-gamey, because Emdiel could have chosen a different angle for his ulti, predicting where the Heimerdinger would instinctively dodge, but it was a nice gamble. It was probably worth it, considering he got Ultimate Hunter and 10% CDR already. And he forced Heimerdinger out of lane, which now allows him to push and roam. And bot lane is a very juicy target, being pushed up all the way under blue team's turret and Emdiel running in with a Ghostblade. But they obviously have vision of him because of the crab. But he loses nothing from that play. That's what you have to keep in mind. This bread and butter roam, and he even kills him. Wow. How little attention can you pay in Challenger Elo? Yeah, this should be a free Drake too. Jungler is dead. Blue team is still outnumbering red team. Yeah. That was not a good fight for red team. Holy crap. Yes, this is how you don't react as a bot laner when you literally see the mid laner roaming down. Yeah, this is first turret. But this is the whole concept. Even if Emdiel would have gotten nothing out of that roam, it would have still been worth it. He would have picked up this control ward there. Well, this is 30 gold for him. But meanwhile, the tower was just eating blue team minions, so he was losing nothing. Not a single red minion has died, or would have died in the meantime, because he would have just ran back if nothing had happened bot lane. Now obviously he loses some minions, because this was a full-fledged fight. But he got a lot out of it, obviously. 2 kills and a turret. And now he works, towards his Duskblade and starts pressuring mid lane turret together with his bot lane, which is now free to, well, not free to do whatever they want, because well, trading turrets, a mid lane turret is so important that I think it's worth trading bot lane turret for mid lane turret. But ideally you would also want to preserve this, because this is just global gold for the enemy team that's lying around. But the enemy bot lane also decided to... Wow. This ulti, by the way, I really like it a lot. It basically just cuts off Heimerdinger's escape route. So he was dead 100%. Had he aimed at the Heimerdinger, Heimerdinger could have maybe flashed out or something. But since he altered his escape, he had no way to survive there. Malphite just Q'd him and he died. Yeah, that was a very nicely angled ulti. Even though it might not look like it at first sight, but it was very good. Alright, now I lost my track of thought. The trading. But bot lane decided to roam mid 2 instead of taking this turret, which might have been the better play, because, well, they killed the Fiddlesticks now, at least the Braum. But that's just blue team overstaying, really. They should have traded tower for tower instead of tower for nothing, because by the time you roam, you already lost the mid turret. Yeah, Tryndamere is also doing fine, which obviously is a great relief for the rest of the team. Yeah, a winning top lane is nowadays a little bit more important, since AD carries are nerfed into the ground. Okay, but Emdiel is now returning to mid lane. Yeah. That was something. Okay, he got Lucian's heal for free. And Lucian tried to duel him. And he's super fed. Yeah, that was a bad idea. Alright, and Dark Harvest, I remind you, and not only Dark Harvest, but also, nice flash, also lethality works on towers. So even though this Misfortune build does not have the highest of attack speeds, it's still very, very good at taking turrets. Love Tap works on towers too, so one single auto attack with all this lethality plus Dark Harvest really takes a big chunk of damage, a big chunk of health out of this turret. Alright, yeah, Fiddlesticks reacting immediately, which is nice. Tryndamere is not committing there. Right, they are pushing on all lanes, which is obviously a good thing. But what they also could be doing, the blue team, is they could be taking this Rift Herald for free. And just use it to crack open this entire mid lane. Because sieging there, it's okay because Fiddlesticks has a lot of poke damage, and so does Malphite, I guess. And at the same time, Tryndamere is creating a lot of pressure top lane. Basically, carrying this game, in my opinion. A Tryndamere that's just pushing in top lane creates so much pressure. You see, he drags the attention of 3 people top lane. He might even trade 1 for 1 here still. Okay, he's not. And he gave away a huge shutdown. Yeah, that was bad. Had he gotten this inhibitor, it could have been worth, but even if he traded 1 for 1, the shutdown is just so huge gold-wise. Nice. Nice team fights. Misfortune not being present though. Yeah. It looked like a nice combo with the Malphite plus Fiddlesticks ult, but it was not completely synced up, and red team was able to clutch it out. Yeah, Emdiel's damage would have been very much needed right there. And this is really not worth. He traded this tier 2 turret for the lives of 3 of his teammates. Definitely not worth. Okay, but now he is working towards... I think he's sitting on a serrated Dirk and finishing his Lord Dominic's regards, and then finishing the third lethality item, just because maths. But yeah, already almost sitting at 3 items. Not buying boots really gives you such a damage acceleration. All the really well, the real downside to this is that your in-combat movement speed is just abysmal. Once you get hit, once you get caught out even by, well, everything feels like an Ashe auto attack, just slowing you down, depriving you of all your W movement speed, and since you don't have boots, you're then sitting at 330 or something. Which is probably worse than getting hit by an Ashe auto attack with boots. Right, a classic Malphite plus Misfortune combo. Taking off the Heimerdinger there. And that's a power of Fiddlesticks, peeling the Assassin off of a Misfortune, but the Ignite obviously finishes her off. But still, Fiddlesticks is so strong versus Assassins. It's not even, there's not even outplay potential they have, you just Q them, it's not even a skill shot. And they can't do anything. If they jump into a team to assassinate someone, they just die. And meanwhile, yeah, this is what I'm talking about, the amount of pressure an unchecked Tryndamere creates is just enormous. Nocturne should die, yeah. Nice. That was a huge shutdown considering this was a Braum. Oh, that hurts. That hurts a lot. And Fiddlesticks was obviously not in range to fear. And AP Malphite doing work. Well, trading 1 for 1, I don't like it because red team gets an assist on top of a kill, and blue team only gets a kill, if I saw that correctly. I don't think anyone got an assist on the Malphite kill. Well, on the Lucian death, that is. Yeah, that's what I thought. He goes into his last Whisper item before finishing the third lethality item, and it does make sense because armor penetration is one of the greatest damage increases you can get for Misfortune. Well, for Misfortune ult mainly, and for Dark Harvest, especially for Dark Harvest. Well, the biggest damage increase for Dark Harvest, and when you finish your Edge of Night, you obviously pay for Edge of Night's active, and for some AD, and for a Ruby Crystal, which is definitely not damage. And so therefore going for the last Whisper before finishing the third lethality item is just strictly the more aggressive build path. And again, Emdiel is a little bit late to the party. Yeah. Cancelling his ult early because the enemy can just react and walk out. Damn, being late sucks as Misfortune, but happens, I guess, even to the best of us. Yeah, should be able to at least buy another component. Pickaxe or something. And this is what I mean. This Rift Herald could have easily been blue team's Rift Herald, but since they didn't take it when it was free for them to take, because they had all this map pressure, instead Tryndamere decided to int at this inhibitor, and the other ones just sieged this turret. The way better play would have been to take the Rift Herald. I missed the initiation there. Fiddlesticks checking for wards. Yeah, and this is very important to point out because a lot of people don't know this. Let's wait for it. He activates his Oracle Lens and just stands there And meanwhile, this ward does no longer spot him, because Oracle Lens, as long as you don't attack a disabled ward, it gives you no information whatsoever. Well, except for if it's disabled by an enemy control ward. This ward just shows you the enemy control ward where it's on the map. But this way, this ward is just completely blacked out, and Fiddlesticks is invisible now, since he doesn't attack the ward. He just waits a few seconds because it has a little bit of delay until he disappears on the enemy minimap. But now he has disappeared, and they cannot see him channeling his ultimate, because he could be doing anything. He could be just walking through there, or well, actually, logically speaking, this guy would see him. Would he walk through this bush? But, well, out of sight and out of mind. They do no longer see him, and so he can freely channel his... Oh damn, I pressed backspace again. Okay. Well, yeah, another 15 seconds, why not? Okay, he just walks there, activates his lens, and waits a few seconds. Now he's disappeared, now I can channel his ulti. The enemy have no vision on him. Crazy combo. Yeah, that was crazy strong. Very well played by the Fiddlesticks. Emdiel bought a pickaxe, just as I have imagined. And this top lane pressure, this is all Tryndamere's work. This is just so stressful to deal with. Yeah, they cannot even defend mid turret now because they have to defend their base. And obviously blue team have full vision on them while they defend their base and can freely take Baron Nashor. Well, they are spotted, but are they approaching? It's too late anyway. Yeah, this is all because of Tryndamere. All this map pressure. You cannot leave a Tryndamere unchecked as he just pushes through the top lane like it's nothing. He's very hard to stop, I must admit, and as an AD carry you basically cannot do anything because you cannot defend turrets as an AD carry against Tryndamere because he can just dive you easily. So your top laner needs to mirror him, and a gangplank being put behind like this is it's not really the best answer either. Right, fighting. More one-shots. Oh, the poor gangplank. Getting absolutely bullied this game. Absolutely destroyed. Heimerdinger though. Yeah, but this is hopeless. Red team is 2 members down, and they really cannot fight this. Blue team just now takes their jungle and resets for free. And since this is taken, yeah, they can take dragon real quick and then just push in one of those 2 lanes. It really doesn't matter which one. I would just go to the lane with the bigger minion wave, or which is farther pushed. Because obviously the more minions you have, the more valuable your Baron buff gets. What's this about? Nice little health bar you got there, mates. Yeah, Emdiel now recalling, probably finishing his Lord Dominic's and buying components towards his edge. Oh, actually completing his Edge of Night right off the bat. Yeah, he's now super strong, basically dealing true damage to... Well, let's look at this Lucian's armor. This Lucian has 61 armor, and I can for sure tell you that Misfortune is now dealing true damage to him, because I think with 3 lethality items, quite a twist of the tongue there, 3 lethality items, and the Lord Dominic's Regards, it's definitely... I think you need almost 80 armor to not get true damage to... But obviously, even if you have like 100 armor, you still only effectively have like 20, maybe a little bit less. And Misfortune's still not participating in teamfights. I would be so mad to just go for teamfights because I want to see my ult just obliterating everyone, and this is exactly what happens right there. Even just murdering this Braum. Of course, the shield blocks the first ability, but still, Lucian just dropped, and so did Gangplank. Crazy. Yeah, basically true. Well, literally dealing true damage. Even to this Heimerdinger, who's at 55 armor. Well, I thought he bought a Zhonya somewhere along the way. But 55 armor is definitely true damage too. Braum, 150 armor, that's maybe a... Well, after reduction he's maybe sitting at 50. Yeah, this is so over. Misfortune was able to stand her ground quite well against the Heimerdinger mid lane, but in my opinion, the true MVP of this game was Tryndamere, even though he kind of inted at the inhibitor earlier and gave away a free Rift Herald. Yeah, all this pressure creating top lane, it's just, well, the enemy have to answer eventually, and this gives your other team members, from a Tryndamere's point of view, so much opportunity to do anything on the map they really need to. And so, yeah, the other members could get really fed. Okay, this was Misfortune mid lane in patch 8.13. And, well, you probably, before you take Misfortune to the mid lane yourselves, you should probably try this in normal games beforehand, because mid lane plays quite differently compared to bot lane. And additionally, you can also run into you will run into more assassin matchups, especially against the likes of Fizz or Zed or Talon. As soon as they hit level 6, they can just 1v1 you over and over again, so you really need to be careful. Yeah, but this was Misfortune mid lane. It definitely works. Maybe it even works in more matchups if you get experience in the mid lane. But, well, we are at patch 8.13. You can basically play everyone everywhere in every lane if you want to. Yeah, I hope you liked the video. Leave a like if you did. And obviously subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Bye!